Well, this week's a little different. It's like 115. And quite honestly, I didn't get motivated enough to really come out here and do anything. I put the new to me wheels and tires on. So, it'll at least look like, it's going to do the part on jack stands with no motor. It's fine. But, yeah, I won't lie. I didn't get out here and do anything. So, what I want to talk about this week is just a little backstory on it. Let's see. I guess I've had it for about 4 years now. I'll post a picture up in the corner or overlaid over my face completely. You'll know when you watch the video. But there goes Dad in the Magnum. I'll post a video or a picture of what it looked like when I got it. I bought it from a good family friend of ours. I had a 1972 C20 with a blown up motor. I had plans of LS swapping it, and it already had patina, so I was just gonna drop it like it was hot, and maybe put some 20-inch pop-haul wheels on it, and a little motor that sounded good when I put it back with the LS. I was gonna 14 bolt swap it from a newer work truck, so it could at least have a top speed of 65 and not 55. But my good family friend of ours, they run a little classic car business. He got this on a trade-in, and then he had a guy that was looking for a 72 C20. So the quick deal, he said, "Hey, I've got this Firebird. I'll trade you for the truck." So I went and looked at this, and I instantly knew, and I hope he never watches this video because I do appreciate his friendship, but I definitely got the better end of the deal. That truck was nothing special. It was just a work truck. That's how it was ordered. It didn't have any sort of options. It was just a basic peephole truck. This, on the other hand, it's 86. So in 87 when the GTA came out. This car could very well be the prototype for the GTA. Except for, from the factory, it had a 305 instead of a 350. It's got the same suspension, from the springs to the sway bars, the whole 9 yards. It's got everything a GTA would have. And so, in seeing that, when I went and looked at it, I said, "You got yourself a deal, buddy." So I loaded that truck up on a trailer, went and dropped it off at his house, went and picked this up at their lot. It was cobbled together. The fuel lines were sketchy at best. They had an 1/8 inch of clearance between them and the fan, so it was just a matter of time before it caught itself on fire. The starter had been beat on with a hammer, so it only ever started at one time, and then I had to put a new starter on it. And I'll find the pictures, and again, I'll do another overlay, but the cylinder heads were more gunk than head. What I'm saying, more tar than iron in there, okay? It had a rough life. It made decent oil pressure, though. I mean, it made 20 pounds of oil pressure once it was warmed up, and so, I mean, it made enough oil pressure, it wasn't a concern. But I'd put a little hopped up Elderbrook carb on it, and a Elderbrook Streetmaster intake. And for those who don't know, it was like a 70s special low profile single plane intake for the 305s, 307s, things of that nature. And it ran great. I mean, this thing It ran really good for a stock 305. I mean, it was the kind of 305 stock that made you go, okay, that's why people called them, the mullet rocket. So, it ran way better than the stock 305 does in my 88 that you guys have seen. But I had I guess before I get too far, I went through all the suspension, freshened it up, new strut. It now has lowering springs in the rear, new shocks, all new bushings, drilled and slotted rotors. But I've even had, put a gas tank in it. The rear suspension has tubular BMR adjustable suspension. It's got subframe connectors. I showed you guys a little bit. The interior's been gutted. It's got DNA motor racing seats in it and harness bar, all that good stuff. Because my whole deal for the car was I wanted it to be a poor man's pro touring car. And usually poor and pro don't ever go hand in hand, I suppose. But, little me at the time said, yep, that's a great idea. And so I drove it for 2 years like that. I eventually said, you know what, I can get away with just, I'll put a cam in it, set of headers, and it'll be great. So we pulled it, put new bearings, a new oil pump, it was already there. Like I said previously, more gunk than iron in the head, so I knew it skipped a few oil changes. But I did that. I put I don't remember, I think it was a CompCam 12 218 something. I don't know. It was like a 480, 470 lift cam. Nothing crazy. It was just a little flat tappet from Extreme Energy. I put shim gaskets on it, and I took the 416 heads off of it and put a set of 059 Vortec heads, which is the same heads it's still gonna have. Shot it up from 9-to-1 compression to 10-to-1 compression. Put a thaw converter in it, and it ran really good for 2 days. Then it started having a smoking issue and a tapping issue. But then the tapping a couple days later went away on its own. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't have to fix it. I think I got to drive it maybe a month. It went to a burnout contest. I'll post that video real quick, in here with this. They went to a burnout contest, had a lot of fun, smoking like a chimney. On the way to work one day, I had someone brake check me. And naturally, when you get brake checked, you usually get a little mad. So when they brake checked me and came to a complete stop from 60, and I had to do the same, I just put it in first and let it eat. In doing so, it actually broke the welds off of, because when we put headers on something, we put collector flanges, the clamps like you do on a semi. So we put those clamps, welded it. It's a lot easier than doing collector flange gaskets, let me tell you. It broke the weld off the inside of that clamp, and it dropped the pipe, and smoked even worse then. When I came home that evening, I was going to do header gaskets because for some reason in my head, I said, well, it's doing this because it needs header gasket. We fought the headers off of it, and because we were going to have to, I realized that it broke the clamp, but we were going to have to weld a new one. So I got the headers off of it, and cylinder number 8 had a very wet oil spot. And I pulled the valve cover, and you could take the number 8 push rod, or cylinder number 8, I believe intake side push rod, and just do this number. Go up and down with it like a little press-in toy. And so I parked it. I was like, yeah, this thing's got a lot of issues. Then I bought the charger. Actually, no, I didn't. I bought a 1992 Buick Roadmaster for $500 and wiped the peephole off of it. And it had a set of 18-inch bullet wheels. But anyway, bought that, drove it for a little bit. Then I got the charger, sold the Roadmaster. Then I started fixing the charger. I guess essentially as I can make this car do what I want it to do with Pro Touring faster than I can make this car that needs a motor. And I started building the charger, and it became what you guys have seen it be. In which now you guys have also picked it to go autocrossing, since this ain't gonna make it. But I bought that car, essentially, I think a little bit in my old heart to take the place of this one. And so this one sits right over there. You've seen it in the first couple videos I made. It's sat over there for 2 years. Then I kind of finally reached the point where I had scratched all the plans I was going to do with the motor, because I was going to make the world's meanest little 305 you ever seen. Scratched all those plans. I had enough parts laying around that we're currently doing what we're doing with that. Rebuilding the motor again. That I'll circle back around to when it's at least 100 degrees and not 115. 15 degrees makes a difference, let me tell you. But it'll be fun. And when it goes back together, I'll really have a choice to make, I guess. If I take this and do what I built it to do, and then probably tear it up again, because I know me. And in all honesty, flat tappets are probably not your best choice for performance-oriented stuff anymore. And I know me well enough to also know it's at least going to go once and do it. But I'll have the choice to make if I continue to, let's make this a race car, or if I slowly start, let me move out of the way of the beat-up fender. But slowly start putting it back together. It's just a really nice car. And kind of leave the autocross Pro Touring purposes to the Charger. Although it's definitely not the better platform. Sadly, it's gotten to where parts for a Gen 3 Hemi or a 2010 Dodge Charger way easier for me to get my hands on than, parts for one of these anymore. And yes, I know there's a lot of aftermarket support, but not as great as it once was. You can't just walk into a parts store really anymore and get everything you need to put one of these together. Now they're going to tell you, oh, it's a 1 or 2 day wait. And, pretty much anything for a newer car, you can go in and still get in case of emergency. So, I don't know. That'll be a decision I have to make. But, I don't know. I was going to enjoy it either way when it goes back together. Probably break it in a lot more properly this time, instead of let's go do burnouts 5 minutes after it runs again. But when it goes back together, it'll get broken, and it'll get treated right. And like I said, I'll make the decision to either continue pursuing it as a poor man's race car, or then they're getting kind of hard to find, fix it and make it a nice example of just a nice car to enjoy. But I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Like I said, I haven't forgotten about it already. Again, it's been hot. Sometimes life gets in your way, and you got to work on things you weren't planning on to work on. Like putting a radiator and a water pump in a Challenger, or a fan assembly in another new Dodge Charger that happens to belong to your girlfriend. I wasn't going to call her out, but you guys know her. She only has one ear. But, and then, the Jeep behind me, it does Jeep things. We had to go put a shifter cable in that. So some things stacked up and haven't had a chance to really circle back to the small block build. And in all honesty, it hasn't been a very pressing matter to me because, well, I have 3 other vehicles I can jump in at any time and go drive. But I do need to get this done because I would really like to circle back around to paint and body on the 88 to make it nice and pretty again as well. But, that brings me to the little bit of the word I'll give you today is, sometimes in life you don't get to do the things you want to do. Jesus has a plan for your life, and usually your plan for your life and his plan for your life don't exactly come together. They don't mesh very well. He's a loving and a just God, but he's also going to say, this is the way it's going to be. This is what I want you to do. And usually if you fight him on it, he'll fight you right back to it anyway. So you might as well just do what he wants you to do. But sometimes, that's in life, things don't go the way you want them to. I was planning on this car already being running and driving, and it being the car that I took August 22nd to the autocross event, but it's not going to happen, and that's okay. I'm going to take the Charger. I'm going to have fun, and, it'll be a great day and hopefully a great video for you guys. But I say all that to say this. We heard it in our sermon yesterday. Sometimes the brook that God calls you to set by and that he's going to, provide you with, it dries up. And he calls you to go somewhere else, or he calls you to do something else. And as strange as it is, and as times you go, well, Lord, I got it pretty good right here. Why do I need to do that? It's because he's got a better plan for you. And he's got something better waiting for you on the other side. And so, what I want you guys to think about is, when life doesn't go your way, instead of getting mad and throwing your hands up in the air and maybe kind of, doing the old kick the ground and stomp and huff and puff, how about you look up and you turn your eyes to the Father and you say, all right, Lord, what's next for me and what do you want me to do? And in my experience, that's going to work out a whole lot better for you than trying to do it your own self, because you're just going to make a bigger mess of it and get yourself a little bit in trouble with the Lord, and sometimes his whippings hurt. But that's all I got for this one. I said, we got to get ready for the autocross event, so next week's video, we'll get the Charger ready, and I'll get motivated to get out here and get it together, and we'll get it ready to go, have fun, and hopefully surprise some people, maybe surprise my own self when it makes a lap and doesn't burn to the ground. I don't know, but we're going to count it a small victory or a big one. I'm not really sure. I did put it together. So, but that's going to wrap it up for this one. As always, thanks you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.